It's billed as Spotify for cookbooks. ckbk is an online subscription service offering access to hundreds of cookbooks and tens of thousands of mouth-watering recipes. And it's perfect for those of us who love cooking but can't see to read a physical cookbook. I spoke to co-founder Matt Cockerill. So Matt, tell us a little bit more about ckbk.
I've been passionate about cooking for many years, but it increasingly struck me that what we had in the world of great cookbooks, which brought together some humanity's knowledge about cooking, had been left behind essentially in terms of really embracing digital technologies, even though so much of food was happening online with Instagram and things like that. The really high quality content from really well-known chefs and authors was still primarily existing in these printed books. And it seemed really a missed opportunity. We were discovering new music through services like Spotify, being able to explore all kinds of classic movies and new content on Netflix. And why was it that in the world of food, we were still essentially dealing with the printed page? So that was the driver for us in really saying, OK, in the digital world, things like a novel can benefit from being an audiobook or maybe being on Kindle. But that's not such a great fit for a book full of recipes. How could we make a digital platform that would really make the most of great food content in cookbooks, but really then bring it to your phone and to an online environment and make the most of the ability there to connect it up with different technologies, whether that's integrating with online groceries, converting measurements for different things. And then it turned out one of the surprising benefits for us of bringing this content together on a digital platform was we heard from visually impaired users that suddenly they had much easier access to all the content in these cookbooks because all of the accessibility technologies within their devices were able finally to help them explore and get straight to their favorite recipes from a particular cookbook author.
And that has recently been fully endorsed by blind food blogger Laura Facci, who's also a Paralympic gold medalist.
Absolutely. It was the power of social media, really. One of our visually impaired cooking fans, a guy called Adrian Higginbottom, was tweeting about cookbook. And Laura came across that tweet and was like, why hadn't I heard about this before? And she ended up writing a really nice piece on her blog about how cookbook had helped her to discover all these books she'd previously not had access to but wanted to. And the great thing was she also listed some of the books and authors she'd really like to see on the platform, including Nisha Katona, the founder of Mowgli's Street Food. And it turned out Nisha's books were with one of our partner publishers, and we were able to bring those books right onto the platform within just a few weeks. And there's been a lot of enthusiasm from authors such as Nisha Katona who think this is a fantastic opportunity to make their work so much more accessible.
It's not only some of the biggest names in cooking. I believe you've also got quite a good selection of out of print or very hard to get cookbooks, such as George Lang's The Cuisine of Hungary, which for those of us with Hungarian roots is a terrific way to find out the best goulash recipe on the face of the planet.
It's funny you should mention that, indeed. Anybody who has Hungarian heritage, they say, oh, do you have George Lang? And they are so impressed to hear, we do indeed. And the reason for that is our starting point when setting out to bring together cookbooks that were really kind of desert island cookbooks that were worth preserving, was to ask the current generation of top chefs and authors, what have you read? What really influences you? What are the books you still go back to? And so we got those recommendations, these top 10 lists, and they covered everything from some of the most recent books, which were instant classics. So, for example, authors like Joost Motolenghi obviously are hugely influential right now, but Joost Motolenghi shared his top 10 books, and those included people like MFK Fisher and Claudia Roden. And so building this picture of the most significant books of all time, we were then able to go out and track those books down And many of them, as you mentioned, are sadly out of print. And so it's been great for those authors, or in some cases, the descendants of those authors, to see those real classic works being rediscovered and now made available to a new generation of cooks. And not only that, not just any cook, but also even visually impaired cooks can have access through the platform.
How many books have you got on the platform so far?
So we're rolling out new books every week, in fact, and there's more than 500 online already. That's well over 100,000 recipes. And then all the non-recipe content too, which really provides that context about the culture. And as you, for example, with the cuisine of Hungary, there's so much more to it just being a goulash recipe. You find the whole history there.
And for anybody who's rather wary of signing up to the $4.99 a month, you can actually access up to 3 recipes free per month, I believe.
That's right. As a free member, you get to search the whole content and to explore and browse and get a taster of up to 3 recipes a month. And then we have a 14-day free trial if you want to dig deeper and explore in an unlimited way the premium membership.
How would listeners find you online?
So Cookbook is spelled ckbk, and you can either search on the App Store or just Google ckbk to find the website.
Do you have a favourite recipe in amongst those 100,000?
Well, at the moment, I'm a big Japanese cooking fan, and I am somewhat well known for having a very large patch of wasabi in my garden. So anything basically which makes good use of my fresh wasabi is my current favourite in the kitchen.
Fantastic. I'm going to explore my own heritage through Mr. Lang a little bit further. But in the meantime, Matt Cockerill, thank you so much for coming onto the Daily Connect to tell us more about ckbk.
Thank you.